Welcome everyone to episode 29 of the Pinnacle Combat Sports Podcast. Dan, how you doing today on a lovely Monday afternoon or evening for you?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. It's closer to nighttime here. We're just watching some Monday Night Football. It's a doubleheader.
Beautiful.
But the first one is underway. It is Miami and Tennessee, and then we got Seattle and Detroit.
Yeah,
which is probably definitely the better game. Yeah, the later one.
What time does that one start?
8:15, so a few minutes
right
here. Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
How you doing, dude?
Pretty good. Made some pickles this weekend. I was telling you about that. First time ever trying to make pickles.
Of the spicy variety, of course.
And they came out really good. So I'm going to continue making them.
Hell yeah. Start experimenting, get kind of crazy with it. I think you should.
Yeah, I should try something different. Yeah. I should look up some crazy recipes that people have done online.
You should make custom T-shirts too, just to let people know that you do pickles.
Yeah, I should get like dick-shaped cucumbers and then make pickles with those.
Yeah, it'll be like that, and then you can write. It only took 24 hours, like a wink face. Just you can figure it out.
Call them Tickle My Pickles.
Been marinating juices.
So we got a lot to talk about, man. I mean, we had an amazing. Actually, it was pretty good. The fight night card between Renato Moicano and Saint Denis, and then next weekend we have UFC 307 in Salt Lake City, which always puts on a great show. So we got some stuff to talk about.
Cards.
Yeah, high up in the mountains.
Something there. Something going on there. Yeah.
Something in the water.
Oh, salt, Jim. That's what I think it's what it is.
But why don't we start with the main event? What did you think of Moicano and Saint Denis? And
it was awesome.
I mean, I know we kind of talked about it before, but what were your expectations, and what did you think was going to happen, and then how it played out? Like, was it surprising? I don't know. You tell me.
I was surprised because I could have easily seen this fight being like one of those 2-2 into the fifth type fights where you're looking at someone watching it going, that's what I got. That's what you got. And then, so to see it be so one-sided was a bit shocking, but not shocking, but you know what I mean? Like it was not, I was thinking, I think I had Moicano because of the verdict thing. You just had to pick a round. I think I had him third round submission.
Okay.
So nice. I didn't have him necessarily by KO, but I did, like I told you, I did put some scratch on him, dude, and he did come through. And it was more so because of the odds, dude. I was looking at the odds, and it was plus 1,200 for Moicano by KO TKO, and I'm thinking about it like, so I think this fight's going to be kind of war. So like, I don't think I could see either one winning that way.
Yeah.
So to see it be plus 1,200 was kind of, I thought, surprising.
Huh.
So I threw a small 5 on it. That's all, Jim. Just small money, small potatoes. It was nice.
Just a couple shekels.
Just a couple shekels, dude. But it's nice waking up and you get $100, dude. Everybody wins.
Yeah, easy $100. I like it.
It's on the Lord's Day, dude. So I threw down some more money on football. That it didn't go as well, but. That's the game we play, Jim. We roll some dice.
That's neither here nor there.
It's not. Listen to what I said. I won $100. I'm high as a mountain right now. So it doesn't. The rest of the stuff, this other losing stuff, doesn't matter right now. I won once. Yeah. I actually did win twice. Because I also had we'll get to it, but I had Brian Battle by KO TKO as well, and he came through for me. So
yeah, that was nice. A great fight too.
To those two gentlemen beating on French soil. We'll take Moicano. Moicano's probably American, right? Does he live in the States? He's ours now. So
yeah, he's ours now.
We got Moicano, and we already had God damn it, Brian Battle. He's like, what is he, South Carolina? He's one of the Carolinas, I think.
I'm not sure.
I like the way he fights, but we'll get to it. But those two gentlemen won me some scratch. It was great. But as far as the main event goes, it was just such a showcase, I thought, of how how dangerous and how effective elbows could be. Because um, I'm not saying he wasn't taking anything off of him, but I think he was throwing him in very strategic angles and strategic like situations where you don't necessarily have to land with so much force, like I'd say a punch. Just the way he was throwing that, it just his elbows was just it was well done, dude. I that was one of my favorite fights when it comes to that. As far as once you get someone in that much trouble on the ground, and the way he selected those elbows was it was perfect,
Yeah.
and it did so much damage. It was just like you knew it was a matter of time, and you figure Moicano probably knew that in the second round. Like he's kind of taking a foot off the gas. I'm like, he probably doesn't want to just completely change this guy's face. He's already swollen up. He's like, he's probably just trying to stay. It almost they were saying he was taking it off. I was like, I don't know. You're still landing plenty on that eye. It made it even worse. But what'd you think? I'm kind of rambling about it.
Well, I the most impressive part to me from Moicano was his control that whole first
Dude,
round. Not only was it easy for him to get him down, but just that the body triangles and him moving with him and yeah,
he's so
landing
good on
those
the ground.
elbows. Dude, it was like I don't know. I thought that was the best Moicano I've ever seen that first round, and
I would say so.
yeah, it was just like it was a master class. And yeah, I agree. Yeah, he definitely took his foot off the gas in the second, and he's probably just thinking, "Oh, this is a 5 round fight. I should probably pace myself here because this guy's a tough dude." And this is a serious, I need to win this and I can't get too crazy, which I think is good, and it turned out that he couldn't see out of his right eye, so the judges stopped it, and there you have it. I mean, the first round was so bad, and yeah, and I agree with the elbows, man. Yeah, it's been a while since you've seen a fight like that with as many good elbows as that one had. So yeah,
Elbows are my favorite. That's why I kind of geeked out on that. They're my favorite by a mile. I think they're a very underutilized shot.
yeah, for sure,
There's a lot of fighters that do not even use them, and I don't understand why. I don't get it. There's so many scenarios where they're the best shot to throw.
yeah,
Um, I don't get it, but dude, you don't have to tell Moicano, man. The way he was landing them so effectively. But that's the thing too, because he wasn't just throwing elbows. I think that's where people they if you throw just five or six elbows in the same fashion, the same way with the same force, it's all predictable patterns, so they can block them. But the way he's throwing, he's just kind of like you said, control is probably it has to be the number one thing because I know he'll get wrist control on one hand, and next thing you know, he throws an elbow through that. Like it was more like the way he was setting it up was just. If I was a fighter, I'd be watching that. Like if you're not watching that live, I don't understand. If you're like a young fighter trying to learn, just being a sponge, but especially like the next morning, you should be watching like the where you want to be, the highest level. You should be watching what they're doing. You should see what's
absolutely, yeah,
working. You know,
absolutely, yep,
like learn new techniques that you just have in your pocket that you can use at any moment. Because a lot of that stuff's not like I'm not saying it's a lot of that stuff when it comes to technique stuff is not rocket science. It's learned technique. It's not like you have to be a specific have a specific like attributes to do it. It's just the correct technique, the correct position to be in that moment. Like just learn from him. It's like watch Mighty Mouse, watch all his fights because that's like when you think of like technique, who do you think more than that?
I know, right? Yeah, that's a good
So,
point. Yeah,
but yeah, no, but it was a really good night of fights, dude. It was just like the crowd was crazy. It was like
the
hostile.
crowd
It was
was
like
nuts. Yeah.
it was kind of nice.
So
That that's good for those type of fights.
so who do you think? Well, I know he called out Paddy Pimblett, right? And
Yes.
I think that's a great fight. I'm not sure if Paddy wants to throw down with Moicano, but I think that's a good, two big popular up and comers trying to break through to the top five. I think that's a good test for both of them. What do you think?
Well, no, I like it. It's interesting and all that. And what's what I think what's most interesting is that I think their best, both of their best, whatever you want to call it, like their best skill set would be probably on the ground. I would think. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes up. Moicano's just like a freak. Just he's so good at the ground. But
Yeah.
then also you see someone like Paddy Pimblett. He's been doing that forever, man. That's how he's been beating everybody for the most part. Like his hands are the it's not like he's a big guy. He's a big dude and he hits hard, and I understand all that, but it's not that. And we were talking about more the distance. And then when you saw him against King Green with his distance and all that was under control, I was like, oh, okay. So then now that's what's nice to see these younger fighters like make improvements and leaps and bounds and just make adjustments to certain fights. And then you're like, oh, I'm worried about this guy. And then he fights him, and you're like, oh, he had no problem. I thought he was gonna have a lot of problem with
Yeah.
the range on the feet, especially in the beginning, and he had no problem. He controlled from the beginning.
Yeah, you
So
can
I
see
do like that.
he's been doing work in the gym for sure. He's,
Oh yeah,
no
oh yeah,
slouch.
just great. No, it's great to see. It's not even like you could be working hard as possible, but if you're not learning things, you're not becoming a better fighter. Um, especially at the weight, the level these guys are at now, it's hard to even stay in these divisions now. It's going to be hard to stick around before you know it. The talent's getting so rich. Like a lot of the names that people think of as really good fighters, and they are. It's just there's so much talent coming through now. Like the UFC's big, it's huge, so that's the best part. But kind of makes you wonder why they don't do something like some other type of league. If they do the
Yeah.
contender series, they should like even expand on it. Maybe not a
Well,
league, but I don't know what that I don't know. You don't know what I'm trying to say.
yeah, but like I agree with you 100%. Like if this was 10 years ago, you might know the top 5 in every division. They'd
Yeah.
be like these great fighters at the top 5 of every division that everyone knows. But we've done it how like a handful of times on this podcast where you just go through any of these divisions, like almost the whole top 15 is like obviously not like household names, but if you're a an avid fan of the sport, you know who they are. You've seen
Oh
them
yeah.
fight at least a couple times. Which is pretty wild to have like. So what's that? I don't know how many divisions there are exactly, but like you're talking over 100 like recognizable names to an avid fan. That's pretty wild. So that makes making cards a little bit easier, because you can have, and like you said, like before on other episodes, like you could have a fight night just like this one, Moicano and Saint Denis. Perfect. Like they could headline a fight night. Let's put it on. Let's do it. They
Oh, that's
could do
perfect.
that literally.
5 rounds.
Yeah, they could do it all the time. It's so easy to put something out there that people know and fighters that people want to see. Where you couldn't have done that 10 years ago. It was hard to create a fight night card the way they're doing now, especially if you're
Yeah.
doing one every week, every weekend like they usually do. It's pretty wild, man. It's been a wild year for the UFC, and I'm so pumped that we started this thing this year because it's been the best year of fights that I can remember.
By by far as the quality, just the total product of everything you're getting.
Yeah,
Like we talked about, like when that Sphere event, that shit was crazy. The Sphere,
yeah.
fun to say too. Sphere. I hope they keep doing the Sphere, Jim. I
Let's
hope they do it again.
let's continue down the card though. We got Imavov and Brendan Allen. What did you think of that one?
I thought Brendan L was gonna have more success with like clinch takedowns and control, and it seemed like Imavov either already really had that, which I'm sure he did, but or he really trained for that because he was prepared for everything. He seemed like he was just always a step ahead,
For
um,
sure, yeah. I
and was
completely
just
agree.
really good on the feet. And he's like a big dude and rangy. So I knew if Brendan Allen had trouble with the grappling, uh, then just the length is. I think a lot of middleweights are going to struggle with that dude if it doesn't go necessarily well for them early on. because then you're kind of in front of a guy who's just like so rangy. What is he, 6'3", 6'4"? What is he?
Who, Imavov?
Yeah,
I don't think it'll tell me
six
here.
six
He's
three.
he's 6'3".
Yeah, that's a big dude, man. You can just tell by the way he what his reach is. That's what I wanted to see too, but I can't see that.
Yeah, I always just go to UFC.com, so they don't tell me any of those things,
It's
unfortunately.
cool. No, but it's you figure no, he looked very good. So that kind of sets up a potential title fight for Imavov. Even I know, like I said, I talked about for I really want to see Imavov and Adesanya, but obviously it seems like seems like he's kind of earned it. So I think he's kind of in a title shot position. What do you think? Is that where you see him or one more
Well,
fight?
let's look at his past fights, like or what he's. I know he has a great fight history,
We
but
just knocked out Cannonier late in that fight at the end.
yeah,
That was his last fight. As far as the rest of it, I forget. That's a big win.
yeah,
That's
it
a guy
is.
who already fought a champion. He's fought title fight. He's
I
been
know
around a bit.
he lost to Strickland. That's his last loss, but he beat Buckley. He beat Delidze, um,
I think that's perfect then.
Shabazian,
To
um,
Bosnia,
Heineck, Heinisch,
Heinich, I think it is,
yeah, Heinisch and
but it could be
Hawes.
Heineck. I can't remember. Yeah, Ian Heinich.
So yeah, I mean he's got a pretty good. He's only got that one loss in the UFC against Strickland, who obviously is the next title contender.
Which is why that would make sense, right? You figured that you know who next is. It's Strickland and Duplessis, and then the winner of that should fight Imavov. That makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Then maybe
that could totally work out. I also have the rankings up here, but they're not going to be updated till tomorrow. Um, but for middleweight, well, then you also have Robert Whitaker and Chimaev fighting.
I can't wait.
We always get
Jim,
into middleweight. Middleweight's so stacked, and there's so much going on and so many moving parts that, like,
it's wild.
yeah, it's crazy.
It's a wild place. But Jim, let me ask you something real quick. So, if how you thinking about as far as right now? Whitaker and Holloway, I think, are both underdogs in that fight. What do you think about that, Jim? You think about putting some scratch on those two? What do you think,
Definitely
Jim?
Whitaker. Definitely
Okay,
Whitaker.
definitely Whitaker. All right,
Um,
we gotta do like a little parlay action. We gotta do some. We gotta do some action for
yeah,
sure.
we definitely should.
You gotta let me do that
Um,
bit.
yeah,
Let me do
because we're
that
good.
bit at the bar where I pretend that I lost my mortgage. Well, I lost everything.
Yeah,
I lost.
yeah,
I'm gonna say I lost my shoes.
yeah. I
These
need
are
to
the only
get back
shoes
in
I
it.
own.
Who's willing to put their shorts on the line? I'll
Yeah,
bet my shorts right now.
I'll just be in a bathing suit and flip flops at the bar, and I'll say, "This is all I own." I'll just be screaming, "This is all I own." People are like
Oh
that guy's
jeez.
really having a rough go at it. Yeah, I have a Range Rover at home. Guess who it is? My wife now.
It
That's it.
belongs to that guy over there now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I am ruined.
But
You find
Max,
out.
yeah,
You find
Max.
out I'm making you find out I'm making $5 and $10 bets at DraftKings. Like, oh, okay, this guy's playing us for a fool. What's our, what were you gonna
But
say?
yeah, the Max and Taporia fights like 50-50 for me.
Okay, okay. I just meant as far as I thought the betting odds when I saw it yesterday they were both underdog, but it was slight. But
Yeah,
not
yeah,
bad. You get it, but you're still just I'm. It's just because I'm worried about it, but that I think it's an entirely different scenario.
yeah. I don't
Um,
know.
because you were looking at it. I mean, I just that's that's why I really stress the importance of maybe I don't know maybe everyone involved. Maybe just since you have so many big names, why don't you throw on a big car a different card with people instead of making these fights with these type of title implications a short notice fight. They shouldn't have been like if you want the best product and the best and all that, they both should have had a full camp for each other in the rematch.
Yeah,
Uh,
for
talking
sure.
about um talking about Volkanovski and Makachev, and then that way it all sets up everything. It all rolls downhill. Then he took the short notice, not short notice, but he took it. He probably shouldn't have after that knockout. He took another fight pretty soon after Topuria. I feel like that had to have done something
Yeah, for
in that
sure.
fight.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's like
and Holloway's not that right now. He's on fire right now.
that's like recently, like Evloev in Sterling. Evloev still wanted to fight on that same card, and no one wanted to fight him on 2 weeks' notice. And you
I
can't
kind of like
blame
it.
them, right?
I kind of like it too. There's so many fights, so many matchups they can make. They could
Yeah,
slide some fights around, if they need to.
yeah.
But
But yeah, as far as Imavov in the middleweight division, yeah, you could totally give Imavov a title shot. But we don't know what's going to happen with Strickland and Duplessis. It's not even is it announced yet when they're going to fight? So
not that I've seen, but also just to expand on that too, Jim. I'm not saying it's a bad thing when fighters take those fights, but it's more
yeah,
like I'd rather see like top prospects and names that are rising up take those short notice ones. And you're like, oh shit, that guy's fighting that. Like then it's like, I think that's more exciting than you finding out that something with huge implications is on 10 days notice. You're like, I don't know.
yeah,
It's always awesome. That's not the point. You kind of want to see both. Like, isn't that awesome that they both have been thinking about each other for 8 weeks, preparing for each other for 8 weeks, and
yeah. You want
and
them
then they
both to
fight?
come in at their best,
Exactly. And they
and
want to
then
be peaking at the right time, and
yeah, because then
they
you
get treated
actually
like professionals.
yeah
Is
you
basically what I'm
actually
saying.
find out who's the better fighter. Whereas
Yeah,
like
treat them like professional athletes, like they really should
exactly,
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
But yeah, no, it's
but yeah, Imavov and all that. I think yeah, I just don't know because there's so much time left. Because like if they're gonna announce Duplessis and Strickland, it's gonna be early. It's gonna be early next year, right?
yeah,
And then depending on what happens, Duplessis gets tagged a lot. He might not be able to see. Like, remember what he looked like on the first fight against Strickland? He's not going to fight for another 4 or 5 months at least if he looks like that again. You know?
yeah, true. Yeah, it's true. I have to rewatch that one. It's I want to see. I want to really score it because that was before I was like trying
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
I'm trying to pay. It's hard to pay attention when you're watching as a fan, so you're not really in the best state. First of all,
yeah,
like I'm like getting like what I mean. As soon as the fight starts, I'm high. So then I start drinking a little bit, and then I'm like, let me judge these fights. I'm like, no wonder I'm a little. But I do try to. But since I had been, but I don't think I was doing it then. So I want to rewatch that one, see
yeah.
where I was at on it. I know it was obviously close. I think everyone agrees on that. They, but you do see a lot of that's a fight people are pretty split on, right? You see a lot
Absolutely,
of
yeah.
people thinking different things. A lot of times it's not so split, even though people would make it seem that way. But I think that one truly was. Um, there were quite a few people on each side saying the other one, and you're seeing the names. And you're like, oh, they thought that one. Okay, so it's very subjective at that point when it's that close. Then it becomes, and you start to see who values what, how high, and things. And like I'll always be damage over everything.
Well, that's
Like,
why O'Malley was saying he won that last fight just because of damage. But
but he can't. But then you there's a reason why you have to still watch the fight.
yeah,
So if you watch the
that
fight,
doesn't
he
mean you
didn't
can't.
win.
That doesn't
Yeah,
mean you should not score takedowns at all. It just means, you know,
yeah.
yeah, it's kind of it's not as simple as that. But
No, it's very, very different. Yes, because you still, at the end of the day, you still have to judge the fights per round. That's how the judging is. That's how the scoring is. And what did he win? Maybe the last round? Would you have it?
oh, I can't remember. I'm not sure
I don't.
exactly.
I don't
Oh yeah,
think he
definitely the
won a
last round.
round. I don't think he won a round until the fifth.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
it's just you get. I don't know. It's just he seems like kind of an outlier where it doesn't really matter if he thinks that way. But I just don't think that's a good way to think. I think you got to kind of look at it like, no, I lost that, and I lost it by a lot because
And
of
and there's
X,
so
Y, and
much.
Z.
I think we can all agree, and I think you would agree with this that he could have done so much more, and he
Yeah,
usually does. So even if you think you won the
it
fight,
was weird.
it was
All
the
of it was
worst
weird.
performance. So you
Yep.
should feel like you lost anyways because you didn't perform the way you
Exactly. Yeah.
usually do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Even if you just say like, because he clearly had an off night, had an off night. Props to Marab. He did what he needed to do to win the fight, and that's it. Leave it at that. You
yeah,
don't have to say that much, man. You don't have to get into this whole back and forth. Like then, I feel like you do yourself no favors. You're better off just saying that something like that. Props to him. He was the better man tonight. That leaves your door open for a rematch because you're just saying you beat me tonight, but that doesn't mean you don't even have to elaborate on it. You can just leave it at that and go
yeah,
back to work. That he's so good. It's just you gotta find a way to keep it on the feet. I suppose I don't. It's tough with a guy like Marab because he's something else, man.
And I heard, I just read this today, but I heard that the Georgian government gave him a crazy amount of money for becoming UFC champion.
How much is a lot?
I don't
How
know.
much is a lot? What do
I
you think
didn't.
they gave him, Jim?
Well, what did the Georgians use for money there? I don't even know. Is it euros or I don't know. But
Probably like the name of the mountain goat that's in the mountains out there,
yeah.
whatever that is. Like that.
But yeah, probably a lot. Probably, you know.
Awesome, good for him, dude. Well
Yeah.
deserved. He's been a beast for a while
Yeah.
because he's kind of. I'm not saying anything about the way it, but he's kind of been hanging around when Aljo was champion. A lot of people have been looking at that dude for a while, so it's good to see him get his due.
Yeah. But
You know,
let's get back to this card though. The next one actually so William Gomez and Brito. Um, Gomez was a plus 250 underdog, and I should have bet on it because I thought he was going to win. It was a tough fight for him, but that was a great fight. I enjoyed that fight a lot. What did you think of that one? Gomez is a badass dude.
he is, man.
He's
He's a
something.
sniper.
Yeah.
He's a very good striker. You can tell, like the way he was snapping. I thought that kick was going to land. The one wasn't he the one that wasn't he throwing like a snap front kick that was like just because Brito was walking forward a lot, right? Wasn't that the
Yeah,
one?
he was walking forward the whole time.
Dude, I think that's probably why he was the favorite, I guess, because of his success in the UFC. Because I think a lot of people have trouble dealing with that kind of forward pressure. That's not normal. That amount of pressure. He pretty much was walking forward the entire fight. So, um, probably if you ask a guy who's as slick as him, that's probably a perfect opponent, right? You kind of gave him what he wanted. Talking about Gomez because he looked smooth, man. Like obviously you know if you're gonna jump in the pool, you're gonna get wet. The dude got hit a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's because of the pressure that Brito made it a fight whether he wanted it to be or not. It did not matter. He brought the fight, so I suppose that's what you want if you were someone who strikes the way he does, But he did look awesome, man. I've seen him before, and he's won close decisions. He might have even lost close. I can't remember what his last few fights have looked like. Let's see. But either way, it's like you could see the skill in him.
Who, a
It just wasn't
Brito or
all there yet.
Gomez?
Gomez.
Gomez
Yeah,
is I have him right here. He had
that's two
three
out of three,
fights.
but 2 out of 3 are like split decisions. So it's like you're just waiting for him to like. Still think the best is yet. You bet the best is yet to come from him. He's young too, so he'll start to.
No, he won all of his fights, didn't he?
No, he has. I'm saying the last 2 out of 3 have been like split decisions.
Split
So
decisions.
they're close. Where I feel like he's better than the opponents he's fighting. I just don't. I just think he's still in the process of evolving. That's another tough division, Jim. He's in featherweight. Jesus, where's he at? Is he He's not ranked yet, right?
No, he's got a
Okay.
ways to go because he only has those 4 fights in UFC, so he's got some time, but he needs the time. I mean, he fought that fight like perfectly though. He was circling out and sniping him on his way out, and I don't know. I had seen him fight before, and I was like, I just remember liking him, his fighting style, and his heart and his like energy. And I really wanted him to win, and it was really close going into that third round, obviously. But I don't know. I was pumped when he won. I was really pumped. I like that guy. He's good.
Oh, he's very good. No, there's definitely like you said, it was a very good showing of himself in all ways, like skill set, and especially like his heart, his grit, just his toughness. Like, just I think a lot of times you see like those polished strikers, you're not really sure if they can. Well, that's kind of the knock on some other fighters. Some other fighters will say, "Oh, those like polished guys, they don't like to get like touched up. They don't like the wars." And then like so you see him get right in one and just pass with flying colors. That's always good for a fighter's development too. He's only going to become better because from it,
Yeah,
you
to
know.
test their limits. So I guess
Absolutely.
in a
Yeah.
way, those split decisions might actually be good for him because he's literally fighting the limit of what he can do right now, and the UFC's tested him pretty well, and he's coming out on top. So I think that's great. And he was really emotional about the win and everything. He was ecstatic when he won, and I was just pumped, man. It was so much fun to watch. I kind of want to watch it
That's
again.
awesome. No, it's cool. No, hell yeah. What's cool about that is because it's this, like you said, it's like it seems like it's a good thing for you to win. You win 3 or 4 fights real quick, first round KOs, and everyone's talking about you. I think it's better to have because you're kind of like a victim to your own success. It's better to have those like split decision wins, even losses, but in his case, it's better it's wins, and then so that way it kind of feel like you're in a better position mentally than always having it go your way. It doesn't. I think it's just better to have some of those learning curves very early, and that
Yeah.
way you definitely don't want to be in a championship type level fight, title contender, 5 rounder, where you're fighting for a title shot and you're learning these things on the. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
You'd rather learn it in a couple. Oh, I took a loss 6 fights ago by split decision because I made this, and that error, and but it's. I think it's a good thing in the long run. That he's definitely a name to watch. Just another name to watch at featherweight. 145 is getting wild too. What a
Yeah, it is.
division. I mean, man, that middle part of the UFC, I think is so crazy.
It's insane, dude. And I can't wait to see Taporia and Max Holloway, dude. But we're gonna get ahead of ourselves. Let's continue with the boy that you won some scratch on.
Oh,
Brian
hell yeah.
Battle knocks out Juice
Evan Jose.
Jose in the second round. That was a back and forth battle. No pun intended, Brian.
No pun
Um,
intended. Hell yeah. No, no, it definitely was competitive. And I didn't disagree with the commentators saying that Juicy had more power, but it just seemed like they were I don't know, I thought Battle was kind of piecing them up through most of that fight. And it was just yeah, he might got tagged here and there, but for the most part I thought as he was touching him up, I think he was finding his range. And then next thing you know, he landed some significant shots in the second. But I was liking the way it was going. But as soon as he got the wobbly legs, I was pumped because I was like, oh, there's some more money to it. I'm gonna win some scratch. And then you can imagine how I was because I didn't want that fight to continue with Saint Denis anyway. His face was you could tell he could not see from that particular side of his face. So it's like well, then
oh, the
you
Moicano
got to
fight.
protect the fighter from the yeah exactly. So I was just basically going back to that like the position I was at when I was watching it live. I was watching the doctor come in, and I'm talking to the doctor Jim on the TV. I'm saying, listen, he can't fight. I need this TKO, please, por favor, give me this one. So I was
Yeah.
kind of yelling at the TV for that one, but no, it's good. Both of them were really good. Brian Battle looked. I thought he looked really good against a really good opponent in hostile territory. You know, he just he. I don't know. I really he's like one of those dark horse guys of that division. He's 170, yeah, welterweight. He's a handful to deal with because his ground game's really solid. His striking just continues to get better.
One
Seems like he
thing,
can take a good shot.
one thing I was saying when watching that fight was like, are these guys going to move their head at all? They keep getting hit. Like they're just like their
Concerning.
hands weren't up. There was no defense on either
Some are
side,
calling it an issue.
and I think Brian Battle was just better at mixing it up. And like you said, he found his range, and I think he was just mixing it up better with throwing shots to the body and all that stuff. So I don't know. It was a great fight. That was a fun fight to watch.
It was no, it was for as long as it lasted. It was a very good fight, which most of these fights were that in that way because you figure what do you got? So you got the main event ended in the second, co-main event in the third. You got one decision, then you got ended in the second, and then the next two fights ended in KOs that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, was it Morgan Charrier? Is it
Yeah.
Charrier?
Let's get into that one.
He looked awesome again because I saw him his last fight too. He looked really good.
Yeah. Who did he fight
He's
last?
another polished striker. He
Mariscal.
fought that dude, Chepe Mariscal, but dude, that dude trains with Justin Gaethje. And he's a beast. Chepe.
Yeah.
To lose by split decision, when you're new in the UFC, it's like your second fight. I was impressed by that loss just because of the way he fought in that fight. That was a tough fight to take on.
Yeah, because doesn't Chepe doesn't he train with Gaethje like you said?
Yes, yeah. I don't know about Maine, but it seems like he's probably one of his main sparring partners because I think he's out of Denver as well. So, um, dude, he's very fun to watch. I liked watching Chepe fight.
Yeah.
So you figure you fought a close split decision type fight with him means you're right there. So I think Chepe's right there too. So that's another fun division in the UFC. That's a featherweight's getting
Yeah.
just as stacked as any other division. I mean, man,
And then especially with a big knockout like the other night. I mean, like he's I don't know. I can't wait to see who they put him up against next and see what else he can do. We haven't seen a lot of. He's only had a couple fights, I think, right? Like 3 fights in the UFC. So
Sherrier,
yeah,
that was his third. Yeah,
yeah. So there's so much to see from him. He's just gonna get better and better, and I'm looking forward to that guy because he looks great.
and
Um.
he was in Cage Warriors too, which is I think a really good organization to be in before UFC.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll have to.
Yep,
I
a
see.
lot of
I gotta check out
those
some of those
European
other
fighters,
like
dude, it's so good.
LFA and like stuff like that, right?
I'll just text you when they're on, and that way you can watch some of the replays because I'll watch some of them. I don't watch as much as I should, so I'll start watching more. But Cage Warriors is always good, dude. Always good. A lot of good European talent come out of there from all over. It's not just from Europe. It's just that is generally where a lot of the European fighters kind of cut their teeth.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
it doesn't mean there won't be other fighters too. But dude, yeah. Trying to think of the other ones, like you said, LFA, and there's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah, and
But
a lot of those I think are on Fight Pass too, right?
they are, and they're live, which is that's when I
Yeah.
want to watch them. But
Yeah.
just on a Friday night, randomly, like, oh shit, that like I watch a lot of those Brazil. I think Brazil was like Jungle Fight. There's some Brazil cards I'd always catch. There's that one,
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to
but
check out
dude,
some
they're
of those.
so good. Oh, they're so good. You just watch some. Didn't I might forget about the name, but you just watch some certain knockouts and you try to like remember the names and see if you could. Imagine you're like, oh, I watched him. Jim, I watched him 3.5 years ago. Jungle Fight knocked
Jungle
this
Fight
gentleman out.
Brazil.
I swear that sticks. I don't know if that's right. That's why I'm sticking with it. I think that's what it was. I swear it was called something like that. They had some crazy name,
Yeah.
but either way, that's generally the two I gravitate towards. Like Cage Warriors or anything Brazilian cards. Cool. I'm in. Let me know. Plus they probably have Brazilian ring card girls, which also means I'm in. So
Yeah.
I'm in 100% on those. I'm watching.
Um, and then you texted me because I couldn't watch this live, unfortunately,
Yeah,
this past card. But you texted me about this next knockout.
yeah,
You
yeah.
didn't tell me all the details, but you were like, "You got to check this out." And it was the first fight on the main card. This dude, Fares ZM. I don't know how you say
Uh,
it. It's French.
Fairs? Is it Fairs?
But yeah, that
I
standing knee KO was crazy, dude. He was out cold. Like,
dude, it was yeah,
yeah.
it was so crazy. It was funny. I was watching it. I was like the beginning. I just was like, I'll do let's do a little parlay on the main card. So that was like the first fight, and I had him by decision. He was cruising. He was winning every round. He was winning the third, and then he knocked him out. I was like, well, there goes that, because I had him by decision. It was like perfect. It was going all perfect, and then he sent that dude somewhere else. Um, Matt Frivola, he's beaten tough names too. Pretty sure
Yeah,
Matt Frivola. I'm
he's
pretty sure Matt Frivola stopped Drew Dober.
Oh, really?
I think maybe he lost to him. Will I be completely
Oh,
wrong?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, he won by
Yeah,
TKO KO
in
Drew
the
Dober.
first round.
That's a big win, dude. You think of the names he's been in and beat, and um,
McKinney.
that's a huge
Oh, McKinney
yeah.
beat him.
You figure just the names he's been in there with. You figure
Jalen Turner. He beat
didn't
Jalen Turner.
Drew Dober fought. He had a fight with Islam, did he not? Or was it just announced and then never happened?
No, no, I don't think so.
Do I have that? I'm misremembering that. It's Drew Dober. He fought someone I was surprised he was getting the fight. No offense to him.
No, he fought Moicano. He
He
fought
did, yeah.
John
He did.
Silva.
He got submitted by Islam in 2021.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. I was surprised that
Oh,
was happening. Just
wow. Yeah,
it
there it
wasn't
is.
even a it wasn't even a I was just maybe it was more so how we thought of it, how I thought at the time and still now of Islam. Because he's still like technically one of the best, easily top. If you say he's number one,
Yeah,
technically pound for pound, I'm not gonna argue with you.
yeah, for sure.
Um, you figure, especially if John Jones in the conversation or not? That's kind of my first question. But other than that, like I don't argue with you
Yeah,
about it. Islam's just unreal. So that's why you know that's a big win. You beat a guy who would. I know you can't always do MMA math, but still means something. A guy who had been in there with that big of a name, who's still the current champ.
yeah. If
The
nothing
big
else,
win.
it's definitely a great experience to be in there
To
with some of
Jason,
these top guys. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you always want to be fighting people better than you, and that's the only way to get better. So if you have this like
sure.
stellar resume of guys that you've at least fought, maybe you lost a couple of them, you can expect. I feel like you can expect more out of those guys, even if they
That's
lost to
what's cool
some.
about MMA.
Yeah,
It's cool about MMA too. Guys can take a few losses and they're still not technically out of it because you win a few and you're right back in. Like it's better than boxing where a guy loses a few fights, he's completely scrapped. It's like, well, okay,
yeah.
build him up just for the. It's almost like you build him up for this one moment. If he doesn't make that moment, then
He's not with the
it's
money
weird.
or
It gets
something.
yeah, it
Yeah,
gets really weird.
yeah,
That's why I kind of like MMA, where you always root for those guys that's been around, like the Poiriers, he's beaten so many guys, so many top names, and he's had the interim title, but he's never had the undisputed title. And those are the type of guys you root for.
yeah,
Because in boxing, they would have been written off how long ago, you know? So it's nice to see those type of names and what they make of everything.
yeah. It's good to
And
see
he's
an
always one of the
underdog
first
story,
names,
like an underdog story.
of course. That's pretty much what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. But yeah,
As far as the prelims, were there any that stood out to you? I think the girls' fight stood out to me. That was really good. The arm triangle in the first round. What was her? Perez.
yeah, she's great.
Yeah,
She's great.
she's great.
I think she's great. And it's not just how she won or what she did when she won to celebrate. She's great. She's great.
She's fun
So
to watch.
she's great. Yeah, she's must see TV. I think everyone should tune in to watch her fight. Every fight.
Every fight.
She should, but she should make weight. But I totally understand why she didn't make weight. Um, good for her. So no, it's awesome. She's great.
Oh, and she
I
was
think she's
actually
awesome.
she was ranked 15. I didn't know that. I didn't know she was
She's
ranked.
very skilled too, dude. Yeah, she's very good. Very aggressive, and she's good on the ground. Like she's got the total package as far as MMA fighter. She's definitely going to be someone in the mix there at that weight.
Yeah.
Got to make weight though. Seriously, like he's got to make weight. I don't know what happened, but you got to make weight.
Any other fights stood out to you?
Let's see. Barres and Altamirano was really good. The Chris Duncan. Did you see the Chris Duncan Oki? Was it Balaji Oki?
Yeah, I saw that. That was great.
Yeah, where he was like out, and
Yeah, and he's
Chris
like,
Duncan
"Hey,"
was just
he's like, "He's out. He's out."
he was yelling in Scottish like he's fucking out, dude. And then that was weird because I was kind of curious as to how he was staying awake because that looked like a squeeze.
Yeah, that
Even
was
if you didn't
tight.
have it quite where you needed to, you could tell he was putting a crazy squeeze on him. It does not look like a he looks like a strong dude. But that was pretty cool. Other than that, they were the prelims were just good. Nothing. I don't think anything that was crazy, crazy. But then again, there was a lot of decisions, so no one really was kind of making a stamp on anything really necessarily. Um, but the main card definitely delivered.
Yeah,
So
excellent. So if you didn't
uh,
watch it, definitely go back and check it out. Obviously, those fight night cards are free on ESPN Plus. But next week we got a banger of a card that we could, because I know we're gonna do a pre and a post because it's pay per view. So I don't want to
geez.
get too crazy into it. And we've probably touched on a lot of these fights in the past couple episodes, anyways. But let's just go over this card real quick. In Salt Lake City, Utah, which always delivers. Obviously, the main event is Chama, Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree for the light heavyweight championship. And that's a very, very, I mean, in terms of like their styles, that's a very evenly matched, stylistically evenly matched fight. So no one thinks it's going to go to the ground. I think they said Khalil Roundtree has never went for a takedown in his UFC career. Is that right?
Jim, if the over under was point 0.5 takedowns, would you take the over?
No,
Is there going to be a takedown in this fight?
I
'Cause
don't
I
think
heard
so.
people talking about maybe there will be. I was like, well, I mean, yeah, if one does, it's probably because they're in trouble. They're just trying to reach out and try to do whatever they can. But I do not see a takedown coming.
Yeah. I
But
wouldn't be surprised if Pereira just did it though, you
give them
know,
something to think about.
yeah, to surprise him.
But that better not just be a casual like here, let me just do this to do that. Like you gotta
Yeah.
be careful. You gotta be responsible with this dude, I think, at all times.
Yeah, you either do it or you don't.
Roundtree is dangerous, dude. That's
Yeah.
why I'm interested in this fight because he's powerful, he's explosive, he's probably gonna have the speed advantage. I would imagine. I mean, you know who has like Pereira has so much experience and just his ability to just to do anything in the striking realm as far as like he's seen it, done it. Like doesn't mean you can't catch him, but as far as setting traps, I mean I would imagine he has a lot of different things in his bag that he can at any moment pull
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah, for sure.
But that I do think I do think Roundtree is going to have the speed advantage. Do you agree, right? He's probably
Yeah. No,
the,
I
the
agree.
faster fighter.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
that's what I want to see. Because if Pereira can deal with that, which is not like this isn't the first time. He fought a guy like Adesanya, who you name a guy that's quicker, as far as that when that jab's really going.
Yeah, for
I don't know
sure.
if there's a quicker guy at middleweight that we've seen in the last handful of years at all. So, um,
But we'll
no, he
talk.
hasn't
Yeah,
seen it
yeah,
before, but it's more like, have you seen it from this guy? Because it's different. It doesn't mean that it's the same just because it's the same application of the same weapon. Like it's a jab could mean so many different things. Different fighters, with the
yeah,
way they equalized it and how they do and their timing and their just everything's different. So you can't always treat it the same. So that's what I want to see. The
yeah.
speed will be the I think the deal here. Kind of curious on it. I might throw a small little, maybe a small five on Roundtree to win by stoppage. Jim, what do you think, Jim? Jim,
Well, plus three
it's
fifty.
that's what I was just thinking. It's more so that than anything because I want Pajeda to win. So I'm not throwing anything.
Yeah.
Not I'm not betting the wife and kids on Jim, but
No.
I don't have any. But
uh,
you know, if I did, I wouldn't.
yeah, I don't think this fight's going the distance. I'll just say that.
Sure. What do
Um,
you? Okay, let's see. How low
but
can
I don't
we?
want to get too much into it because we do have a pre-episode that
Oh,
we're gonna
sorry,
do.
sorry.
But that's a good little tidbit right
Jim,
there
under
to
two
get.
rounds.
Oh man.
First round.
All right, so the over under would probably be 2.5, right? That's the
Okay,
midpoint.
if it's that, what do you got?
If it's 2.5, I'd probably go.
I feel like this fight might be 1.5,
Yeah, man, I don't know.
but maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know.
No, yeah, I'd go
But either
under.
way,
I'd go the under.
what do you
Yeah,
under? I'm
yeah.
thinking, I'm thinking the same. It's
But
it's
also,
just a
I
hard.
I kind of wanted to go over because we just really haven't seen much Alex Pereira. Like he hasn't fought very long, you know. I
Sure.
just want to see him fight. I want to see how he sets things up. I want to see, I want to see 3 rounds of him. I don't know. Either way, we'll get into it next week. But the rest of the card, we got Juliana Pena versus Raquel Pennington for her women's bantamweight title. This just got moved up to the main card, which I wasn't sure why it wasn't on the main card. But Jose Aldo and Mario Bautista, that should be awesome. Can't wait for
Oh yeah.
that. Jose Aldo, whenever he fights, man, you got to tune in. You can't miss a
Another
Jose Aldo fight.
another great dog. No disrespect to Mario Bautista, he's very good, but
Yep.
Aldo's looking just as good as he's. I mean, he just looks still so sharp, especially with his hands because he was going like
Oh yeah.
primarily very boxing heavy for a little bit there, and then he came back, and dude, he looks great.
Yep. I don't know if I'd bet on the dog on this next fight, but Kayla Harrison is heavily favored over Ketlin Vieira, which would probably set up for whoever wins that Juliana Pena Pennington fight for the title. I would imagine, right?
I would think so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
I heard rumors of Nunez coming back, but we'll have to wait to see how that plays out. And then you have Kevin Holland against Roman Dolidze. That should be a good fight. That'll be fun to watch. I always love watching Kevin Holland talk shit to his
Interesting
opponent.
fight.
Yeah,
Interesting fight. Yeah, we'll see. I know because we haven't seen a ton of it, but I think Kevin Holland's pretty slick on the ground, so you
yeah, he
figure this
is.
fight might end up there. Delete say, I would imagine he
I'd be
I mean,
down with a
positional.
Kevin Holland by submission.
I could see that.
Absolutely, I
I
could see
just,
that.
yeah, I just think he might be a little quicker to certain things on the ground, especially in the later rounds.
Yeah,
Where Delete is more power based, where I kind of curious that maybe he gets an arm on him or he gets his neck. I would think an arm's more likely. That's a cool one,
yeah,
but
that's
either
interesting
way, that's a good,
stylistically.
yeah, that's a good style fight because neither guy really. And that's why if it stays on the feet, that's interesting too, because I think Holland can kind of keep him off and point fight him for sure and win by a good margin decision wise. Yeah, and that's another pick 'em. So that's got quite a bit of them on the main card there. What 3 out of 5 there look like as close to pick 'em as you can get, right? They're
Yeah,
both.
yeah, for sure.
And you got two other ones that are a little different, but you
Yeah,
know, Kayla Harrison 850.
right.
But
Yeah. And then something I was really this fight I was pretty pumped when I heard it was Joaquin Buckley and Stephen Thompson, Wonder Boy. I like Joaquin Buckley. I like watching him fight. I think he's fun, a fun fighter. St. Louis. He's just a I don't know. I like it. He's got heart, man. I like watching him fight. And it's going to be an interesting. Like, how many more fights you think Wonder Boy's gotten him? You know,
Oof,
he's been
yeah,
around a while, and
let's see, 40, 41.
yeah,
Okay.
he's probably I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if this was it for him. But
It's got to be getting close. You figure,
yeah,
it's a, but either way, he's one of those names that where as much as he had a really good career in the UFC, you kind of imagine if he came by the UFC maybe 5 years sooner,
yeah, that'd
like
be
from that
crazy.
kickboxing realm, he
Yeah,
popped over and yeah, because you never like he came over late still and was still really good. But imagine if he got that base going when he was. I wonder when. Let's see if I can do some quick math, Jim. Just talk about how great Wonder Boy is real quick. What's your favorite Wonder Boy moment?
oh, what's my favorite Wonder Boy moment? Dude, I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully this next fight is my favorite Wonder Boy. I always like watching him fight. Um I don't know. I don't know my favorite. Do you have a favorite?
All right, so you figure you got 2012 was his first UFC fight,
Okay, that's
right?
12 years.
12 years. So you figure 41 minus 12, Jim, for those of you at home. Jim?
41 minus 12?
Yeah,
That'd be
go get the
39?
big moment.
No, sorry,
30.
29.
I was just like, it's a big moment for you. You're like 29. I was
29.
like, 39 rather. I was like, that's two plus. Um, yeah, no, so he was 29. So imagine if he got in there. Maybe it doesn't even have to be 5 years. Imagine if like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if he was like 25, 26, he got over there with Weidman sooner. That'd been cool.
Oh, that'd be crazy. Yeah.
Just because of how great he was at that particular discipline. So if he learned all the takedowns and everything, so you just never know.
Yeah,
They've
imagine
been
him
looking
in
at something.
2007, 2008. Dang.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, he's a problem. But he's so
But
nice about it, so polite too, as he beats your ass.
dude, it's crazy. Like all the rest of these fights too are amazing. Like Lucindo and Rodriguez is going to be an amazing fight. They're both like Lucindo's fucking awesome. I'm
Oh
looking
yeah.
forward to that. Cesar Almeida and Potier. How do you say his last name? Poteria.
Uh, well, yeah. I'm not
Poteria.
sure, but I think you got it.
And then you
Potenri,
got
I think you're right.
yeah, you got Ryan Spann and OSP. That's awesome. Esparza and
That is a good
Pennington
fight.
in like the prelims, like at the beginning of the night, and then Court McGee and Tim Means at the very first fight. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This whole card has like
Did you did you see or say Austin Hubbard, Alexander Hernandez? Because I see that too.
oh, I don't see him on my list.
No, I see it on ESPN, so I wonder which one's right.
Probably
Um,
ESPN.
oh, they're usually good on the app, but I don't know. But either way, that one's on there too. If
Wait,
that is holding,
what is the fight?
uh, Austin Hubbard and Alexander Hernandez,
Oh,
lightweight.
well, Alexander Hernandez is great too. He
That's his
fought
nickname,
not
dude.
too long ago,
Let's see.
and he lost. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he did.
Like what, 3
April
months ago?
6th. April 6th.
I guess it was longer than I thought.
Damon Jackson.
But yeah, dude, I'm looking. I can't wait, man. This is gonna be a great
Um,
card. And then, dude,
I've loved every pay-per-view they've done
yeah, and then
this
we're
year.
only like a month away from our trip to Vegas to go watch 308. That's
Yes.
exciting.
Oh,
Um,
that's very exciting.
but yeah, we should probably wrap this one up here. We got plenty. I don't want to talk too much about this card next week because we
Save it.
obviously have a pre-episode. We have an hour to cover what we think's going to happen sometime before the fights start. Probably Friday night. Maybe we'll do one, um, or Saturday morning or something like that. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But thank you, Dan, as always, for calling and having these talks with me. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. You too. I appreciate it, man. It's always nice.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out some. We'll have to start planning our trip. Figure out where we're gonna go,
Oh
what we're
yeah.
gonna do, where we're gonna watch the fights, how I'm gonna get all this recording equipment to Vegas. But yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be great. But yeah, next week we got UFC 307, so we'll be back sometime next week to do a pre-episode. And thank you guys for listening. We have a Instagram and a YouTube channel. You can find those at Pinnacle_combat. Yeah, if you listen to the episodes and you like them and you think one of your friends might like it, tell them, share it, subscribe, do all those fun things, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Sweet.